Alright, so this is going to be a tutorial on how the shop works in LAS, geared towards speedruns of the game, but I'm going to cover how to steal and the optimal movement in there. And the purpose of this is mainly for new players, I guess, because something I've kind of often seen is that new players don't quite understand how stealing works just from watching it. And even for experienced players, the optimal movement has some very not obvious subtleties and mechanics to it. So I want to just go over all this because I don't think that there really is a resource on this yet. So hopefully I can kind of share how to do this fast and consistent. Some of it's a little bit hard, but it's very manageable with practice, and once you know all the steps broken down, it should be pretty manageable. So first I'll go over just how stealing works in general, from a more casual perspective, and the mechanics of the shopkeeper. So the basic premise of how to steal is that you want to be holding an item like this, and you want to walk out of the loading zone while the shopkeeper is not looking at you or can't see you. So this actually requires something kind of very specific because the shopkeeper has a very godlike range of vision. So if he's facing up left and I go straight down to the loading zone, he's actually able to see me because he has more than a 180-degree range of vision. So in order to successfully steal, the only way that you can do it is to have him face up left and then walk out the right side of the loading zone. This is the only way that stealing works in this game. Now, how the shopkeeper works is that he will turn to face you in one of the 8 directions that he can be, so the 4 compass directions and the 4 diagonals. And he will turn after he hasn't been facing you for a certain amount of time. It's like a second or something. I don't know exactly what the time is, but you can see there's always a delay in him turning to face me. So that window of him turning is what allows you to have the window to steal. And something else worth noting is that you cannot steal if you don't have a sword in your inventory. So if you do want to practice this, you can't just boot up a new file and go straight to the shop. You do have to get the sword first, just so you don't try that and it doesn't work and you wonder what you're doing wrong. Okay. So in order to, steal things optimally during a run without waiting, we are going to kind of do some careful stuff to basically manipulate his turning to just the right timing so that we have a window to get out. So the first thing that I'll go over is what you would do in a glitchless run. And this applies also to any percent, basically where you're going to buy bombs. But in glitchless, we want to buy 3 bomb packs, so I want to go over specifically what the best shop movement is in this case. You want to buy 3 bomb packs and chain it into stealing the shovel. So what you want to do here is you're going to go straight in, and you're going to move right very slightly as you're going in, and go to pick up the bombs, kind of just a little bit to the left of the bombs. And then you want to go kind of down to this part of the desk and talk to him. This is the absolute fastest way to buy bombs, because it's right here, right beside the bombs, especially when we're going to buy multiple in a row. And Link barely even has to move during this process. Whereas, if I talk to him from here, he, moves all the way over here. We don't want that. So buy from the diagonal side of the desk here. Okay. And now we're going to do this on the last bomb pack. So in any percent, this might be the first or the second bomb pack you actually buy. But it doesn't really matter. This is what you're going to do for the last bomb pack that you're going to buy here. And instead of doing it here, we're going to walk over to here, right? Which is an X position kind of between the shopkeeper and his desk. It's not precise at all, just kind of generally here, in front of the chamber stone, or between the two, whatever works as a visual cue. And you're just going to turn down to talk to him here. And what this does, if you notice it, you look carefully, right? Like, say he's facing up here. We actually made him turn off of his normal 8 directions. And this is very relevant, because this is going to make it so that when I go over to the shovel, he's going to actually turn up left, right? So when I go over to the shovel here, he turns to his up left position, right? Whereas if I talk to him with the bombs here, he is actually off of one of his 8 directions here, but if I go to the shovel, I'm still within the range of what's considered him looking at me, so he doesn't turn at all. But also this angle is not an angle where he's going to let me get out of the right side of the loading zone, because it's just not up left enough. Right? Like he's just, because his field of vision is just that wide, that little bit of an angle does matter. So, and even with this, there is still some pretty specific movement you have to do to have enough time to get out the door with the shovel. So, like, let's say I just bought bombs from here. So I'm going to go over the movement slowly, and then I'll do it all fast, so that you can actually see in action stealing the shovel, and you can pay attention to how the shopkeeper turns during that process. So what you have to do is you have to first go up left until the counter, like right out of the text box, until you're touching the counter, then go straight left until you're like between the bombs and the shovel. Turn up left so that you can grab the shovel. Now doing so is going to move you very slightly to the left like this. Right? Now after you pick up the shovel, you want to go diagonal down right to the desk. And this is important that you start off going diagonal down right here, because kind of when Link's feet are like at this line in the planks, this is roughly when he turns from up left to left, right? But it's really just like that height that matters, right? So if you go diagonal down right from here, he doesn't turn until you get to like here. Even here, he's still not turned, right? So this lets you do more movement before he actually decides that it's time to turn away from up left. And this time is absolutely necessary to get out the door. If you try this and go straight down first, you will not be able to steal the shovel here. So again, starting from the beginning, you want to go up left to the counter, left to here, up left to grab the shovel, which moves you a bit left, down right to the desk, down, down right out. And it's okay if you nudge the desk a little bit, that's not a big deal, because he's still facing diagonal. Like, even if you're here, right, like he's still facing diagonal. So even if you're nudging the desk, that's fine. Just the important thing is that you're not getting him to turn to the left when you're here, right? You want him to turn to the left once you're like here. And even that little bit of vertical distance matters. And I mean, especially here, you'd have to go more to the right as well. So that's a lot of time lost going this way compared to going this way. So, so up left, left, up left, down right, down, down right, and down. So let me run through this all quickly so you can see it in action, and you can watch the shopkeeper turning while I do this, and he'll behave kind of how I described before. Okay, so that's what it looks like. So now after this, you want the bow. And you're gonna go back in, and he's gonna kill you. You just have to watch the cutscene. And then we want to steal the bow. Now the bow also has some specific movement to it, and if you're doing no Hinox warp, where you can't buy bombs, you do this exact same movement to get the shovel before you get the bow. This is not as complicated as the shovel, but it's still important. So you want to be holding up like as soon as you're out of that cutscene. And while you're walking up, you want to wiggle up left very slightly so that you move slightly to the left, and then end at the desk facing up. And you have to do that wiggle because if you go straight up, like from here, you're picking up the bombs. So you have to go very slightly left. Even just a little bit makes it so that you'll pick up the bow instead. Once you have the bow, you just go down right to the desk, down, down right, and down. So let me run through this kind of all at once. So up, wiggle left, grab the bow, down, down right, down, down right, down. And that's pretty straightforward. That one's not that hard. The shovel one is a lot harder in my opinion. It did, it took me a little while to get consistent with it, but it's very manageable once you practice it and once you like really know the breakdown of the movement you have to do. Because all of it is absolutely necessary. Every specific little thing that I described about the shovel movement is necessary. So, lastly, I'm going to cover things for 100%. So in 100%, you have to steal the chamber stones and the heart piece as well. And both can be done without waiting, although the heart piece is kind of just a long walk, so it's not necessarily noteworthy compared to waiting, but the chamber stone is definitely a lot faster to do without waiting, and you have to steal 7 of them. So I would say it's pretty important that you learn that movement. Otherwise, you're kind of throwing away some seconds over the course of all 7 of them. So, starting from the beginning of the shop here, and this one is a little bit tight, but it's really not that bad once you do it a few times. So what you have to do is walk up kind of to the mat, and then just immediately go upright around the desk, like nudging the desk upright until you can grab the chamber stone. And then just go like down left, down, down right around the desk and walk out here. So I'll run through this quickly all at once so you can see it all in action. Just like that. It looks hard, but it's really not that hard, I think, once you do it a couple times. And it will save a significant amount of time over stealing all 7 chamber stones. So definitely try to learn that for 100%. And the last thing is the heart piece. So the heart piece is a lot further right, which makes it so that we have to do something a little bit different compared to the others, and that we actually have to walk along the bottom here. So we're going to start from the entrance, walk down here up to the heart piece, and walk left basically until you're like just past the left side of the desk, then go straight down and down right out. So let me run through it where I actually steal it. Just like that. And that's basically all there is to it. Hopefully I've explained everything here clearly enough so that everybody can be doing optimal shops in their runs and saving all those valuable seconds that were previously spent waiting on the shopkeeper. Yeah, hopefully this tutorial is helpful. Thanks for watching and happy stealing.